money magicians. How are you? Welcome to yet another Money Magic podcast. So today I have a really special guest by the name of Bishal Sarkar. If you're new here, my name is Vangile and I am the host of the Money Magic podcast and also the founder of Wealthy Money. I work with ancestral money trauma. So today Bishal is going to be sharing his journey with us about going from middle class to being the first millionaire in his family. And you guys know how much I love stories like this. I love how it changes the family dynamics. I love the inner work that has to go into it, the mindset work, navigating family events. Ooh, we're in for a treat. So welcome, Vishal.
Thank you, Vangile. I appreciate you having me on your show, inviting me to be on your show. This is amazing because money is a very sensitive, yes, yet the most spiritual topic that I have ever come across and so much misunderstood. So thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So, Vishal, can you tell us about yourself, your background, what you do for a living, and who you are as a
Yeah.
soul? Where do you live, by the way?
Thank you. I'm in India. So what most people know about me is this: I'm the highest paid public speaking coach in India. We have created some significant shifts over the last 15 years, 14 and a half years of me doing this. We have transformed and cracked the code for over 2 lakhs people, which is around 200,000 people online, offline, group, one-on-one in different capacities of trainings I've done. I've spoken for companies like Microsoft, IBM, Cisco, Google. Most people know that, but Vangile, what most people don't know about me is that I didn't come from money. What most people don't know about me is that I was born and brought up in a middle class family. I was born and brought up in a small town in India called Shiliguri, which is in West Bengal. And growing up, we had a lot of issues in terms of money and thought processes. And I come from middle class background. Like my father worked for Indian Railways as a small clerk, and my mother was a homemaker. And growing up, I always lived in this lack mentality that it's going to be finished very soon. We had too much of month after the money for the month was finished. I remember my father had to think many times before buying a second-hand Bajaj super scooter. A lot of Indians can relate to that. So there was a lot of lack, and even though my parents did their best to put me in the best school that they could put me in. I come like English is my third language. My first language is Bangla. And coming from that background, I also not only had a lot of money, like misconceptions growing up, but I also had a tremendous amount of self confidence issues. I was an introvert. And Vangile, growing up in my school days when I studied, I was bullied by an English teacher who used to kind of used to bully me, and not students, but actually a teacher used to bully me. He used to bully the weakest students in the group, weakest in terms of somebody is shy, somebody who's obese, somebody who's different than the other people. He used to bully them, and I was one of those 3 or 4 people that for 4 years I was bullied. But back in the days, Vangile, like I couldn't come home and tell my parents that I'm getting bullied because my parents would think I'm doing something wrong because teachers in India have a high respect, especially in schools and colleges. So I grew up with a lot of self-esteem issues, thinking there is something wrong in me. I can't talk to girls, I can't be friends with people, I can't be talk to strangers, and a lot of negative beliefs. Um, I attracted them, but when I see that with responsibility from society, from parental education, from other people, and that's where I started. So fast forward everything till today, which will share the journey with you today. But now what I do is that I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to turn fearful leaders into powerful speakers, and that's what we do with our work. We do something called Elite Transformation Mastermind, which is a group of extremely powerful leaders from around the world that I coach and transform in terms of their health, their relationship, their finance, their mindset, their entire programming, so that they can live the rest of their lives as the best of their lives. I've written a book called I Love Public Speaking, but all of that, I never see that Bishal who went through all that as a victim. I think I had to go through that in order to see myself as somebody who's worth achieving all of that. Every experience I've gone through has been like a teacher for me. I believe suffering is a teacher. if you choose to make it. I believe trauma is a school of transformation that you can learn from that. So instead of being a victim, I decided, with the help of mentor, to be a victor in my life, and I'm very grateful. I just tell people all the time, I'm very grateful. God has blessed me with freedom, not just money wise, but also time wise, and I have good friends, and I love spending time in nature. I don't believe that nature is something that you visit. I believe nature is your home. Other places are what you visit. So I'm extremely blessed, and that's where I came from, and that's my introduction journey.
Wow, where to start? Firstly, let me say, I resonate deeply with being bullied at school. I've often shared my journey about being bullied.
Mm,
Um, and even as an adult, facing bullies, even on social media, I have experienced that. But the other thing is, oh, India is one of my favorite countries. I lived in Goa for a while.
oh wow.
So I absolutely adored it. I tried
Yeah.
Rishikesh and Delhi. Oh, Delhi
Wow.
was a bit funny. I was like, no way, can't do it.
Yeah.
Delhi was very intense. I've got stories for days being in Delhi. So
Yeah.
then decided to go to Rishikesh, but then discovered Goa. One day I hope to live in Kerala for a while. I've heard good things about it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
to your story, Bishal, I think so many of us listening can resonate with parents that have more month than money, right? And the challenges of that. So, how did that impact your relationship with money? So, walk us through the journey of here you are, a shy, introverted teenager, and coming from this family background. What are some things that you had to do to shift to be in the position that you are and to grow your business? I mean, I can see the challenges. There's the financial, and then there's also the I'm introverted, I'm going to do
Yeah.
public speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe, Vangile, one of the things I really believe is that there are two very important things you need in life, and one is speaking, and the second is money. You can't. I'm not talking about survival. I'm talking about if you want to go anywhere. Like, first is you need money, and I'm not talking about, again, day to day survival. You want to create something great. You want to experience something. You want to appreciate other people. You need money for that. Now, if you don't have money, at that time you need speaking to be resourceful about money. So those two things are extremely valuable. When I was growing up as a teenager, I heard a lot of wrong things about money, that money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are bad. In fact, the background that I come from, Bangalore, we believed anytime the conversation of money came up, it's amazing how our family members instantly change the topic to happiness. Like, no, we don't have money, but we are happy. It's kind of like saying, do you have phone? And you say, no, I don't have phone, but I'm happy. Like, it's a cover up if you think about it, because it's a cover up. So I wore the fact that I don't come from a place of money, or we don't have money, as a badge of honor, until I realized that money can't buy happiness, but poverty can't buy anything. Money cannot buy happiness, but poverty cannot buy anything. Money can solve money problems that money can solve. So growing up, there was a lot of mixed feelings for me, because at the same time, my father and mother also believed giving a lot of clothes away on a monthly and quarterly basis. I remember my father coming to our home many times and saying, hey, whatever the sari that you have, whatever the shirts that we are not wearing anymore, give me. I want to give to some old age home. So I saw that background of my parents as well. So I was getting mixed feeling. Like, there is one point where we're saying that money doesn't matter, then we are also contributing a little bit. Um, my eyes started opening up when I started traveling. And I went to different cities, and I started understanding that there is a higher way of being, there is a finer style of life, and it's less about you, it's more about other people. I remember coming to this conclusion one day by hearing a speaker back, I think back in 2000, 2008 or 9, most probably, that he said something from the stage. I don't even remember his name. He said, if you are an ethical person, if you are an honest person, if you are a man or woman of high value, it's your ethical responsibility to be financially wealthy. And the case he made from the stage, he said, because if money doesn't come in the hands of good people, it will reach the hands of bad people. And I think in 2008 or 9, I decided that no matter what, I have to crack the money code. So even though I had this baggage of money trauma in my head of things I heard from people around, um, that one line that I heard in 2009 opened my eyes. Even though I didn't understand fully what it meant, but I made a decision that day, even though I did not have a vehicle to become rich at that time, that I need to crack this money code, not just for me, of course, for me, but also for my family, also for my friends, also for giving away, also for being a value. As Jim Rohn said, be a millionaire not for the million of dollars, but be a millionaire for what it will make of you. It will extract a great person out of you. It will make you the greatest speaker, the greatest leader, the greatest father, the greatest mother. And so that is the thing. And also, you asked about, what it was like about coming from that inferiority complex in speaking as well. I believe that that's always going to be there, but we always have to work on our mindset to overcome the doubt. One of the things we say inside my one-on-one coaching program and also elite transformation mastermind is 1% doubt, 100% out. Meaning, if you have even 1% doubt, it will make you out. Right before a speech, when I coach CEOs and vice presidents about speaking, I tell them the same stuff. 1% doubt, 100% out. Meaning, if you're going to the stage even with 1% doubt, Vangile, it's gonna create a suffering on the stage. It's gonna create some kind of self-doubt and fear and anxiety. So it's very important for us to work on that. So one of the things I did is that, this is something I heard from Joe Vitale back in the days, is even when you don't have a lot, start writing, doing the exercise of gratitude in the morning. Now I didn't have a lot of money, so I started counting the things that I had. So I remember, having this small black color journal. I would open it every single morning, and I'd say, I'm grateful for, and then I'm blank, like grateful for it. And that's when I heard the voice of Joe Vitale. He said, write down what you can be grateful for. Okay, I'm grateful for my clothes because it's covering me. I'm grateful for my shoes because it's making me walk. And as I started doing that gratitude practice, what I saw is that on a daily basis, it increased my vibration, it increased my frequency, and I started feeling better. A lot of people say this, Vangile, fake it until you make it. I believe feel it until you make it. Start feeling better. It starts with your feelings. So to be a better speaker, you have to feel like a better speaker before you actually become a better speaker. To have more money, you have to feel that you have money before you have the money. Because when you have the high level of vibration, as with my personal story, as I started having higher vibrational frequency, I started seeing things that I did not see before. I started seeing the situations, the opportunities, the people, the actions. And that's when I started approaching, because I was already happy. You see, I stopped looking for money to be happy. I was happy without the money. And when I was happy without the money, I started being happy with the money because it came to me. So yeah, as I started having higher level of vibration, I started having better feeling, and because of the better feeling, I saw higher opportunities, higher level of people, higher actions, more skills that changed my life. So one thing we talk about inside our program is that you cannot have a rich life with poor thoughts and poor feelings. So as I started upgrading my feelings on a daily basis with gratitude, with dancing sometimes, with just feeling good without the money, that started opening my eyes, and that's when I started feeling. For example, I'll give a specific example. In the year 2013, there was this company that I wanted to send a proposal to for hiring me as their speaker and the trainer for the workshop. But I was feeling, what if they say no? What if they reject me? What if they say no and I feel bad about it? So I started doing the work in that way. I'm grateful for my opportunities and all that. Started feeling better. And because of the feeling better, guess what happened? 1% out, 100% out. I removed the self-doubt. And I started sending the proposal. I gave them a call because I was already happy. I was not looking for their approval anymore internally to feel worthy inside me, because I was worthy inside already. As I sent the proposal, within an 8 to 9 day period, we cracked the deal. At that time, it was the biggest agreement in terms of money that we ever had in our business, right? For me being a professional speaker. And the company was IBM back in 2013. So the reason I mentioned that to you is, many times because of having poor feeling or low level vibration, we do something called self rejection. We do that in public speaking. We do that in achieving financial freedom. We do that when approaching a life partner, a soulmate that we think can be our soulmate. We do self-rejection. So, Vangile, I believe that working inside, working in the confidence, working in the belief system, doing the inner work can give you better speaking, more money. And that's what it did for me.
Okay. That, I mean, I truly believe in changing our internal to change our external. That is a big, big thing for me. You talk a lot about removing self-doubt, right? And I don't think uh, gratitude alone can remove self-doubts. And I know you've got other work that you do. Can you share with us one of the key things that you did to really start becoming more confident within yourself so that you can deal with that trauma? Imagine someone being told from the time they're young, you're worthless, you're good for nothing. Those are deeply embedded within their spirit and within the nervous system. What are some
Absolutely.
things that that person can do to make themselves feel better, to feel more confident, and to be more self-accepting?
Mm, yeah, you're right. Gratitude is the first step. It's not the end all be all. I did three major things and practices in my life. I'm going to give you an example for that, which is there's something called 5% increase. And 5% increase is a technique I learned back in the days, which is basically instead of doubling something, you want to increase by 5%. I'll give an example. My first coaching clients that we had in public speaking, these days it's very expensive to work with me in terms of my coaching programs because we have a waiting list in our program and because we only work with certain kind of people. But back in the days in 2011 or so, I remember the first person who came to me for coaching, I charged 1,500 rupees for 10 sessions. 1,500 rupees, Vangile, is about $20. $20 for 10 coaching sessions in person, one-on-one for public speaking. That's where I started. The reason now I can see you being surprised in your facial expression, but that's where I started. The reason I mentioned is because once I did that, I started increasing 5%. I started thinking, maybe instead of 1,500, maybe next time I charge 1,600. I started increasing my confidence, my money consciousness slow. One of my mentors says, change small and change often. So instead of making a very big jump, maybe the first step is to start hanging out with a little better people. Started, judging yourself a little less. That's number one. Second is there's a process that Byron Katie taught me many years ago. There's a process called questioning your thoughts. So I did this exercise of writing down all the judgments that I had about myself. I'm not smart enough. I'm this. I'm not born for this. And then basically there's a questioning process, limiting belief process, elimination process, which is I wrote down, I'm not worthless. Well, is it true? Yes. Well, can I be absolutely certain that I'm worthless from the universe's point of view? No. Okay. What happens in my body? How do I see myself? How do I judge myself when I see myself as worthless? I see da 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 da. And the final question is, um, like who would you be without the thought that I'm worthless? Well, I'll feel worthy. I'll feel confident. And then we do a turnaround. I'm worthless. The opposite of that is I'm worthy. And then I have to write down 10 reasons why that's true. I'm worthy because I'm still alive. I'm worthy because I have value. I have stories and expressions to share. I'm worthy. And then what I did is that for the next 1 month, for example, I would look for evidences how those opposite statements are actually true for me. And I started having those limiting belief factors running out of my body. I believe most people, Vangire, don't achieve what they want to achieve in terms of their health, their relationship, the money, is because they have too much of thoughts and judgments about themselves. And it's an ongoing work, but it's not a lot of work. Even if people spend 5 minutes a day, like if they think about a three column, write down current judgment, write the opposite of it, and then find 10 evidences of that opposite. For example, I can't make money. The opposite of that is I can be easy making money. Now, how are they true? 10 statements about it, 10 evidences about it, and then looking for the evidences in the real life. Oh, yeah, I have made money before. Yeah, I was making money in my previous career before. Oh, yeah, this is somebody who's coming to me for some work or giving me a job. Looking for those achievements is like a micro progress that can be a game changer. And the third thing that I did is changing my surrounding. I cannot speak highly enough of this process. Proximity is power. Proximity is power. Who you hang out with is extremely valuable. If you hang out with 8 addicts, you will be the ninth one. If you hang out with 8 millionaires, you will be the ninth one, because we start taking their feelings, their thoughts, their behaviors, their actions, their way of being, their money management processes, how they feel about money. Do they see money as a slave, or do they see money as a life partner, as a romantic, loving partner? Those thought processes change for me. So these are the things I did. 5% increase, number one. Number two, doing the limiting belief process on a regular basis. I didn't do it every day, maybe a couple of times a week. And third, changing my surroundings of people. I started hanging out with people where my goals were their existing reality. My goal existing reality. And I started normalizing that goal. And I'll give you an example about it. I think it's a story about it that will really be resonating a lot. I remember when I think the year was 2014, maybe. I made around, I was doing about 25 lakhs rupees a year, which is around 40,000 US dollars, close to that, right? Think about it. I come from a middle class background. That's a lot of money in India for me at that time, like $40,000 a year. So I went to this one event where there was a conversation for 2-3 minutes, which is very egotistical. I was talking about, yeah, I make $40,000, which is 25 lakhs rupees, 25 lakhs rupees. We are talking about some business owners networking. And this one gentleman walked in. His name was Shivram. Shivram was his name. And he saw how egoistic I was about that number, 25 lakhs, right? And Vangile, what he did to me, I'm so thankful. In that moment, it felt so hurtful for me. He said, oh, 25 lakhs. So yeah, I thought, oh, he's going to appreciate me now. He said, is that per month or per year? I said, no, it's per year. He said, oh, how do you live on that kind of money? And he walked away. You see, he was not trying to hurt me. He told me there is a higher standard of game to play. So later on, when I reached out to him that evening, I said, you said that day I was feeling a little uncomfortable. And he was much older than me. He was 15 years older. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, what's your name? I said, Bishal. He said, you are thinking you've reached the peak? Brother, there is a different level of mountain you have to reach. Increase your standard. Don't be egoistic about money. That opened my mind. And that day, before I came home, I wrote down on a piece of paper as an affirmation. I, Bishal Sarkar, now make 25 lakhs rupees a month. That became reality in the next couple of years. The reason I mentioned that to you is because sometimes proximity is power, as I was talking about. Sometimes being around the right people can change our game. Look, I have read some books about money and stuff like that, but I haven't got the juice from books or videos and all of that. I got the juice from conversations that hurt my ego, because I believe words that hurt your ego can absolutely change and shift your being. And that's what Shivram did. And that was a reminder. And I know for a fact, all the people who are listening, whether on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or video, if Shivram was here right now, and if somebody out there was egoistic, he would say the same thing.
Wow. Okay. I'm just nodding to everything. I think you could see me furiously nodding to some of the things that you mentioned. Let me just say, everything that you spoke about that you did, I just had a realization that those are things that I did to also increase my income. So that is so fascinating. 5% increment. Yeah, what I did was just stretch myself a little bit more until I could get to the point where I could easily double things and my nervous system could hold it. But when I started this work, I was $60,000 in debt. And I talked in my first book about how I did Byron Katie nonstop for 8 hours a day for about 3 months. And I started EFT tapping because I was a mess. So I did that questioning, I did all that. And then I got coaches, I joined masterminds. It completely transformed my life. I remember the first time I shared the story where I didn't know that it was possible as a woman of color to charge $20,000 for coaching until I was in rooms with women of color charging $100,000 for coaching, $20,000 for coaching, all that. And I was like, wow, you get to do this. It's not a big deal. But it's exactly
Yeah.
what you were saying. For me, when I wanted to become a nomad and travel and run a business, I surrounded myself with other nomads and entrepreneurs who were doing this full time. And within a few
Yeah.
months, I was able to do it because I just learned through osmosis. I noticed what they were doing. They introduced me to their coaches. They shared their back end secrets because until you're really in someone's space like that, you really don't know the small things that make the big difference. I can
Yeah.
do a video here, but the truth is that I'm not going to always, there's certain things I'm like, oh, that's so not important until
Yeah.
someone sits down with me and they go, that is the key important thing. That's the key ingredient right there. That's what allows you to do what you do, you know?
Yeah.
And you won't know until you're in those people's spaces. So thank you for sharing. So I'm sure as you've been growing, you face some challenges, especially in your business. I would love to go back to the making $40,000, 25 lakhs a year to 25 lakhs in a month, right?
Mhm.
What were some of your biggest challenges with making that kind of a leap and earning that kind of money? I
Yeah.
mean, and talk to us about the mindset shifts also that you had to go through. Because there's a big mindset shift that you have to make what you make in a year, in a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to tell you three principles I followed back in the days about money, which I think will add tremendous value. But I want to share in terms of the story of what created that shift in me. So I went from making, I think, 2013 or 14 to 25 lakhs rupees a year to 2 years, 25 lakhs rupees a month in a 24-month period. I don't remember exactly, like 18 to 24-month period, 1.5 to 2 years. Three principles that I followed, Vangile. The first one is I understood that money loves speed. Before that, I was kind of chilled out about it. Like, yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm making more money than my than where I came from. But I understood that life is not gonna wait for me all the time. So my first principle that I followed is money loves speed. That meant that the kind of proposals I was sending to companies for trainings and workshops per month, I started doing that per week. I shortened that time frame. A couple of days ago, I was hearing this conversation from a friend of mine. He was sharing that he heard from Michael Phelps that Michael Phelps saw practice in a different way. Of course, we need rest and all of that. But he said that all my competitors used to practice swimming 6 days a week. I started practicing swimming 7 days a week. Just by doing that, I practiced 52 more times in a year, which is almost 20% more. The reason that he understood that in order to be a master, not be a disaster, you have to make the small shifts. So for me, it was all about that. So money loves speed. Second principle that I followed is money loves to be circulated. If we look at the word currency, it comes from the word current, which means to flow, current, flowing. So when I was just previously ended 2013, I was just a solopreneur. 2013, 14, I was a solopreneur. I understood that if I want to make a bigger impact, because I believe impact drives income, I had to circulate money more. What does it mean? Started hiring people, hiring people who in our team started doing stuff that I did not do before, that I did not know before, that I thought I don't need it. I'm making good money. So money loves to be circulated. I started paying people very well. This is very important. Something I learned from Jim Rohn. Your behavior and energy when you're paying your bills is extremely important, because you shouldn't be happy just when you're receiving money. You should be extremely grateful when you're giving money. The Japanese arigato principle, which is saying thank you many times in your mind when you do that. So money started doing circulation. And the third thing, I understood that money loves mission. So money loves speed, money loves circulation, money loves mission. I started understanding that if I just stop focusing on money, I'm never going to make it. I watched this, I was reading about this interview of Walt Disney in 2014. He said something so amazing, Vangile, that gave me goosebumps. And I thought, this is what I need to do. He said, we don't make movies to make money. We make money so we can make movies. We don't make movies to make money. We make money to make movies. That was one shift for me, saying, I'm not doing great speeches and training workshops so I can make more money. I'm going to make more money so I can do even more speeches and trainings, and I can be out there and I can share my message to a global audience. When I went from money led to being mission led in our life, guess what? I didn't mind paying people a lot. I didn't mind, finding my way to the solutions anymore. I started having vendors and I started creating automations and all that in our business. That freed up more time. You know what that meant? I had more time with my family member. I had more time with my life partner. As a result, I was feeling more relaxed. And what did as we spoke about in the beginning, money loves higher energy. As I was relaxed, I started having more appreciation. And then in the year 2014, this happened in the month of November or October. I don't remember that same year. One of my idols, Les Brown, was in India at the time, and he was speaking on some event and blah blah blah. I've shared this video. Like if somebody goes on YouTube and types Les Brown Vishal, they can find that video, old video. I met him in the backstage. He was going out. Like I was at the event as an audience member because I was not invited to speak in 2014 at that stage. And I saw him on the car. I waved my hand. He waved. And 4 days after the event, I was at home. And back in the days, my own phone number, which no longer is on the website or was on my website. So I got a call. I was like, hello. And remember, back in the days, I was a solopreneur. So we did not have people taking calls and making calls. I was doing everything in 2013, 14. I was like, hello. And there was this lady and said, yeah, we are calling from Taj Hotel. I saw that like +9180, which is basically a land phone number from Bangalore. Uh, Mr. Hold on a second. I'm calling from Taj. Is that Mr. Sarkar? I said, yeah. Mr. Brown wants to speak to you. Now, you got to understand, I didn't know which Brown is she talking about. No context. She said, hold on a second. And then picks up, uh, Bishal Sarkar. I said, yeah. So this is Les Brown, maybe Brown's baby boy. You are the king of confidence. Am I right? I was like, how have you found out about me? He said, while I was in India, I gave a speech. I said, you give a speech? I was there in the audience 4 days ago. He said, I know. I went online and I typed the best public speaking coach in Bangalore, in India, and your name popped up many times in the Google searches. So I wanted to call you. And then we spoke for about 7, 8 minutes about some of the things he was doing. And then he said, do you have a pen and paper? I said, sure. What for? He said, write down my cell phone number. +1310, and he gave me the number. He said, stay in touch with me. And I have called him many times. By the way, he's not on WhatsApp, so I've called him a couple of times in the last few years, and he has always been extremely happy to talk for a couple of minutes whenever he was available. So what I learned from that is when you expand, when you are ready for expanding your life, expanding your business, expanding your money, when you become mission led, not just money led, the right people come to you, the right opportunities come to you, and you have to say yes to that without fear, because money loves courage as well. So money loves speed, money loves circulation, money loves mission, and money loves courage. I think practicing that on basis, which I still practice now, to have more courage, to have more relaxation, money has been like an easy friend for me who walks with me. I don't like to possess money because money doesn't like to have possessive people that will not spend the money. I'm going to hold you. We know people like that, right? People who make a lot of money, but they will never spend. They will pay people less. They will never spend. Nobody likes that.
So, can you tell us how being the first millionaire in the family, in your family, has changed family dynamics, transformed them? What were some of the challenges and what were some of the wow moments? How has it really shifted your parents, your siblings, their point of view with money? Has it triggered them? That happens a lot as well, where people get triggered before they start to expand and accept that this is the new reality. How did you maneuver that?
Yeah, I'm smiling, grinning ear to ear because of two reasons. The first one is back in 2013 or back in 2012, I think, or 11 maybe, when I first started having the dream of being a multi-millionaire, and I used a different word. I used mega crorepati. Crore means 1 crore is about, it's a good income. So mega crorepati for me, it was like the crore is how we calculate money in India, like rupees, lakhs, crores. That's a unit, and 8 crore is $1 million right now. So I wrote, I'm a mega crorepati. I make 8 crore rupees a year. It was on my in my bedroom wall, on the wallpapers, and it was something very sensitive for me because it was like a written vision board for me. I remember one day I came home and I saw those big wall chart papers that I took so much of love and emotion to write as a dream were not on the wall.
Mm.
And I asked my mother, I said, "What happened on this bedroom wall?" She said, "No, there are some guests coming, and we don't want people to laugh at your impossible dreams. We don't want to feel
Wow.
embarrassed about these impossible dreams." And I saw that plastic dustbin in my room. Those papers from the wall were inside the dustbin. Vangile felt for me that the papers were not torn apart from the wall. It felt somebody tore apart my heart and put it in the dustbin that day.
Yeah.
And I felt heartbroken. Insulted. I felt very angry. And that sped up my process of achieving financial freedom, because now not only I was in a hurry, but that gave me another sign, because I heard from Brian Tracy many years ago, whenever God wants to give you a gift, he will wrap it up in insult and challenges. But if you just get hurt by the insult, but if you never get the gift. But if you see the insult, remove it, inside it there is a gift. The gift that I had is, this is my sign from the universe that I have to change this generational trauma about money, that I have to change now. And nobody apart from me can do that, because I'm getting messages from people. I'm getting messages from the universe. I'm getting signs that this is time for me. So that was one moment when I understood the kind of triggers people have about money. Fast forward a couple of years later, when I achieved financial freedom, when I hit my first 1 CR in terms of savings in my bank account, I was very happy. I remember this moment. My mother was at home in the afternoon. I came from Bangalore to my hometown that same day, and I shared, even though I was kind of a little hurt about that thing that happened a couple of years before that. I went to my mother and I said, "Ma, I hit 1 CR in my savings for the first time. I think the year was again 2014, maybe, or I don't remember, 14, 15. I hit my first 1 CR, and she was very happy about it. And then, with a lot of mixed emotions, I brought that topic up. I said, "Do you remember you did that?" I felt I was trying to be very calm, but inside a lot of emotions were coming. And while saying it, I started crying and I said, "This is what you did." And it was not that she was apologetic and didn't want her to be, but she said that, "I don't understand. Like, isn't that something to be embarrassed about anyway?" That's when I realized that I don't have to prove to my mother or my father that this is my belief system. Listen, I am listening to Jim Rohn. I'm listening to all these great people. They haven't listened to those, they haven't had access to those level of money consciousness, right? I understood the only way for my family to understand a higher level of money is not through Jim Rohn, it's through me. And I understood that I can't teach them about money or share them about money by being resentful, being angry. And I started embodying that money power. I started being more generous and I started having more fun. Money never became a part of my identity, as in, like, okay, I make a lot of money, so my behavior is going to change. No, I'm the same son, the same brother, I'm the same cousin for my cousins, I'm the same person for my relatives. As a result, when they see me happy, at the same time, when they see my name in the newspaper and the TV and the podcast and the videos and the stages and the photos, they come and say, "How did you do it?" Now I've earned the right to talk to them about money. So I don't believe in preaching people about money. I believe being a role model and example, because I forgot who said that. He said, "Don't preach about being a great man, be an example of what a great man can be." In the same way, instead of just preaching about money to family, we should be an example of what a great man or woman um, with money can do. And that's when people come to us. I love when some of our relatives, there are two small relatives, kids, they say, "We want to be like Bishal." I said, "Why?" He said, "He has fun, he smiles, he brings us chocolate, he gives away money, and he gives us a lot of time." I love that when that happens. So Now what I understood is consciously or unconsciously, I'm breaking that chain, that money trauma for the next generation, because I'm being a powerful example that I wanted to be in terms of my speaking, in terms of being a giver sometimes, and by being a person of higher vibration. And I love that. I'm so grateful to my mentors, to my coaches who helped me embody those energies that shifted my life. I can never, like, this is not hard work. I mean, a lot of people talk about hard work. I think it's important in many ways. You don't hard work your way toward financial freedom. I feel it's not also about smart work. It's not about hard work. It's not about smart work. I believe it's about a framework about your thinking, framework about your feeling, framework about your behavior. And as you said, when you started hanging out with people who are easily charging $100,000, that's like a framework of being with people that has shifted a lot for me. So I'm thankful for those wallpapers on my wall to be torn apart into the dustbin, because if my heart was not broken that day, I might have taken more time. That heartbreaking shortened my period of time because it gave me a more sense of urgency, increased my hunger and my drive and motivation to achieve the financial freedom.
Mm, that's such a beautiful answer. Thank you. So I guess this is my second last question. I wanted to know, how do you plan to pass on healthy habits, financial habits in particular, to the next generation, your children, so that they can pass it on to the next to their children thereafter? There are many studies that show that the first generation that makes wealth, good, the second generation, but by the third generation, they tend to lose all that wealth.
Yeah.
So what are
Yeah.
your plans to make sure that, like, it becomes a generational practice, either the money mindset, the framework, the way of thinking? Do you have anything that you have planned or that you're already starting to implement in your family?
It's such a powerful question, Vangile. I really love that. How do we plan on passing on is something I've thought about before. And what I've realized is, a lot of people talk about, I think I first heard it from, I forgot, I think it was Charlie Tremendous Jones or Warren Buffett, one of those guys. They said, it's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in your children that creates the wealth inside them. It's not what you leave for you. A lot of times parents say, okay, I'm going to leave the house and the land and the thought and all the car, I'm going to give you all the money. It's not what you leave for them, it's what you leave in them. So for me, how I plan on giving to other people is through my expressions. That's when the power of expression comes. Now, expression doesn't mean just preaching. You have to be a great speaker. That also means I think my mission is not just to pass it on to just my next generation and my kids, but the kind of work we are doing right now. Just to let you know, as of the time of the recording in 2024, when it's being recorded, I am doing in the next 3 or 4 months, for the first time, a conference, no cost, with 500 people in my hometown, Shiliguri, where I'm teaching about money, confidence speaking, and at a five-star hotel. I'm not charging anything because I want people to gain access to that knowledge for a full day. And we currently have about 1,450 people already part because of the campaign that we have run, part of the WhatsApp group and the community. And we are doing a monthly call leading up to that. So I have my profession as a professional speaker, trainer, workshop. I do well there in terms of financially, but this is my giving back to my place, my root of where I came from, my hometown, Shiliguri. That's what I'm doing. First thing is to express the idea, the wisdom that we have. If we just keep it to ourselves, that's a very selfish thing to do. So that's one thing I'm doing. And for the next generation of my family and other people that will live beyond me, that's why I have the I Love Public Speaking podcast. That's why I'm writing another book right now. I wrote my first book in 2013 called I Love Public Speaking. I'm writing another book, but inside the book, I'm writing strategies and thoughts about money, about speaking, about leadership, about living a great life, about being generous. That's the second thing. And the third, I think the next generation will learn more by your behavior, like I said. So they don't they don't just learn from the writings on the wall, they observe the behavior in the hall. That means how I behave around money. Am I just stingy about money, or am I giving a lot. Just yesterday, my life partner Anupama was telling me some of the stuff that she learned over a cup of coffee. She was telling me how she has learned to be generous just sometimes by watching me openly give money to people on the road easily all the time and in a very fun way, not without trying to get attention. I have learned a lot about money from watching her. I think that kind of relationship between two people can be extremely beneficial when the father and the mother can be good example of money embodiment. That can be a game changer for the family members and the next generation. That's what my belief is, and that's why. So whether it's books, whether it's speeches, the podcast that we do, doing the conference as my way of giving free service to a larger group of audience that I can help, because we have clients from 27 different countries. Like I said, Microsoft, IBM, Google, Cisco. These are the companies we train, CEOs, IT professionals. But what about my hometown? I want to help them upgrade their thought process. And instead of them learning from videos, that's what I want to do. So, books, videos, conferences, giving that away, being of service, being a generous person, that's my intention and my plan of giving and passing it down the generations, that so that they can sustain and multiply that wisdom, not just lose it after 2 or 3 generations. Does that make sense, Vangile?
Wow, that makes so much sense. Vishal, I'll be honest, I did not imagine that this podcast interview would be just
Wow.
so, for lack of a better word, delicious and just so
Thank you.
amazing. I have one last question. Sadly, you guys are going to have to contact Vishal to learn more information, guys. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, for someone who is really sitting here and struggling, they don't know where to start, where would you say they should start? Someone who maybe has a job. A lot of our people aspire, a lot of our listeners aspire to be entrepreneurs and to just quit their jobs. What one advice would you give them? Where do they start to just say, this is the place that I suggest you start that can start to shift things for you?
Yeah, before I tell them how they can find more about me if they want, I'm going to tell them a very simple one exercise they can do that can be a life game changer forever. It's a money exercise. It's a one time thing to do. It's not a daily thing. It's a one time thing. What you do is that you write down 50 things that I want that money can buy, not cannot buy, money can buy. I heard it from a friend of mine, Hina. She's a friend of Bob Proctor, that guy who died a couple of years ago. So 50 things I want that money can buy. I thought this is a very simple exercise until I wrote down the 20th and 25th thing. I was like, what else do I want that money can buy? Uh, I ran out of things. Trust me when I said that I spent 1.5 hours and all I could get is just 36 things. And I was like, that's all. So I texted my friend Hina. I said, hey, this is what is happening. She said, you have to have a lot of things that you want that money can buy. Because we think I need just happiness. Happiness is not the answer. Happiness is like the starting point and the ending point. From the happiness we create, as Tony Robbins said, there's a difference between achieving to be happy and happily achieving. So that one exercise that I absolutely invite people to do that. Take one time, 1 hour, one day, sit down with a cup of coffee and write down 50 things I want. The first few things will come out very easily. I want the car, I want the house, the vacation, I want this. Then after 10, maybe 5 more. Then, and we run out of things. That's an indication that we have dreamt very small. That one exercise, one time to be done, can open the eyes and the vision for people, because embed this in the depth of your mind. You can never outperform your self image. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching people about self image, self confidence, and public speaking. Because when you improve that, money is supposed to come to you. Money will come to you because money loves mission, money loves circulation, money loves speed. So, that one exercise, I believe that if you watch that interview for the last 45 minutes, before you listen to the next episode, which will be extremely powerful by Dangile, make sure you do this exercise and let her know how this exercise has changed your life.
Oh my gosh. Someone made me I went to a workshop. It was a guy in real estate in 2010. I was living in Boston, and they made us do that exercise. And wow, when I tell you, I wrote some of those things in 2010 and it was freaking difficult. It took me weeks, by the way. So it took you 1.5 hours. Brilliant. And every so often right now. So imagine from 2012, from 2010 up until now, I still go back to that list and I don't think
Yeah,
about it much, right? Some of the things that I really desired and wanted. But
yeah,
every year, I find myself ticking off 2 or 3 things that have just started to happen in my world. I
yeah.
highlight them because it's on a Word document, but it's just so amazing. So, yes, that is a beautiful exercise. And I actually forget about it. I look at it once a year at the end
Yeah.
of the year. And I'm just like, what has happened? And I'm always so amazed by the beauty that has come from that. It's been not everything has happened. I wrote things that I thought were impossible. I want to gift my mom trips. I want to be able to pay for her to travel, to do 5-star hotels. I've done that. Didn't expect
Mm,
it. Sri Lanka and Thailand for my mom, but it happened.
mm.
So it's really, really beautiful. Thank you for that. So Vishal,
Vangile, congratulations to you for being who you're being in the acting, and thanks to that 2010 version of Vangile who did that exercise, because of which you're so powerful, you're so impactful, you have given so much, you have been so generous with people. Because I think even this act of doing this podcast is your generosity to the world. You're taking time, bringing the best guests, sharing their ideas to your audience, how much work you do. As in, you also tell me you have an award-winning musician who does the editing behind the scenes. So you have, see, you are embodying that law of circulation, this law of speed of money. And so thanks to you for being that person. And I think all the people who are listening to you should be thankful to you, should send you the letters and the flowers, and invite you to come to Rishikesh one more time. But thank you for doing what you do.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Vishal. No, because just like you, I have actually done a podcast on money karma. I think it's episode 100 or one of those episodes where I talk about money karma and where I've also learned some of the lessons that you've shared. And the big one being the law of giving and the law of reciprocity. And just a quick story before we shut down at the episode and ended. One of the things that changed my life, the year when I became debt free, I had already paid off $30,000 in debt and I had another $30,000 to go. That year in 2014, I did 200 days of giving where I gave every
Wow.
single day without stop for 200
Wow.
days. That year, it had taken me 2.5 years to pay off $30,000. That year,
Wow.
I paid off $30,000 and had $50,000 in savings to be able to go traveling.
Wow.
It completely transformed my life, and I didn't have to starve or live on bread and
Yeah.
water to save to be able to get out of debt. It just happened. I went on trips. I did 10-day vision quests, paid for that. It was incredible. And that came from just the giving, right? So
Mm.
I'm such a big believer in the principles that you shared. They completely have also transformed my life. And I'm a big believer in the law of reciprocity and the law of giving. So I believe that by bringing podcast guests on the podcast that are epic to share their stories, I've been invited on some of the most beautiful stages to speak, to do podcasts. I'm not even a professional speaker, like I don't do it full time, but I've been given so many opportunities to do that. And I think it's the law of reciprocity and law of giving. So
Yeah.
thank you. And
Thank you.
Vishal, I know people are listening to this and saying, wow, we want to know this guy, we want to follow him, we want to join his programs, and they really should. How do they get hold of you?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. People can just search my name, Bishal Sarkar, on YouTube and find more. But if they want to download, we are doing a special public speaking masterclass very, very soon in the next couple of days after it comes out. And it's so I want people who are here to get a complimentary um, ticket to that masterclass we are doing via Zoom. They can just go to publicspeakinggurukul.com, Gurukul, publicspeakinggurukul.com. When they go to publicspeakinggurukul.com, they can instantly access the masterclass that we have done. They can watch this 90-minute session I did on how to communicate better, how to give great speeches, how to express yourself, and how to turn your communication into financial freedom. So we have done a 90-minute masterclass. By the time they watch it, I think it's going to be instantly available. They don't even have to wait. They can just go and watch on the same day. So public speaking gurukul.com. They can just give the name, email, phone number, and instantly they can get access to it via WhatsApp, email. It will be sent. We have an automation system. So just they can go there, publicspeakinggurukul.com.
Awesome. And how are you guys on social media at all that they can follow
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah, we have the Facebook page. I think we have three different pages. One has like 10,000, another one has 50,000 followers. Our major thing is in the email and YouTube, so they can just type Bishal Sarkar, public speaking expert. They can find that. But absolutely, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube is our main channels. Also, we have launched after me being on different podcasts, because this year my intention is to be on more podcasts. But apart from that, people have been asking me to start my own. So, Vangile, check this out. I've started about 1.5 months ago a daily solo show that's coming out for the last 1.5 months. We started on 1st June 2024, and it's my 10-year commitment to continue this daily solo show that we're doing on public speaking. It's called I Love Public Speaking. They can search on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, everywhere, called I Love Public Speaking. They can search that as well.
Awesome. So guys, all that information is going to be in the description. So if you're listening to this, you're watching it on YouTube, you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, please just look in the description. All those links will be there. Follow Vishal, go find him, follow him, subscribe to the email list. Thank you so much, Vishal, for your generosity in sharing your knowledge. This has been truly, truly helpful and impactful.
Thank you. Thank you, Vangile, for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you. And look forward to seeing you in Goa, Rishikesh, in India sometime very soon.
Definitely. I love India. I consider Sri Lanka my second home, by the way. So I'm probably going to be in Sri Lanka, and then it's just like a 3-hour flight to India. It's very, very
Sure.
easy. And thank you so much, Money Magicians, for being part of today's podcast and this journey, for listening. As usual, if you have any questions, want to find out more about working with me around ancestral money trauma, definitely hit me up in the DMs. And also check out our free 7-day training. All the links are in the description. Without further ado, have a fantastic day further.